As the first couple waves of NFL free agency have passed by, the New York Giants have still not signed a defensive tackle. And a lot of you have asked me, Yo, Marsh, what do you think about Christian Wilkins? Well, Adam Schefter of ESPN just gave us a major update on the former star defensive tackle. We're going to break that down on today's show. But first, make sure you are subscribed to the channel here at Giants Now by Chat Sports. We are 6 subs away from our next milestone. We put out free videos every single day on your New York Football Giants. So if that's what you're looking for, subscribe. This is New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green, and Adam Schefter tweeting out on Friday afternoon that free agent defensive tackle Christian Wilkins fully intends to play this season, but still is rehabbing his foot injury per his agent, Dave Mulugheta. So far, 26 NFL teams have reached out and are waiting for Wilkins to be ready, and Wilkins is expected to have a new home as soon as he wants. There's been a lot of smoke about Wilkins over really almost the last 12 months at this point. So let's go back, set the stage, give you the information. He signed a 4-year, $110 million deal with the Las Vegas Raiders in the spring of 2024. He left the Miami Dolphins to join the Raiders after a lot of successful seasons. Then his first year with Las Vegas, suffered a season-ending Jones fracture in his left foot in Week 5, and he has not played football since. He then was cut by the Raiders prior to the 2025 season. And there was a lot of questions and thought pieces and conspiracy theories as to why Wilkins was cut. I talked to my guy, Mitchell Renz, who hosts the Raiders Report here at Chat Sports, and he told me that one of the main reasons was that the Raiders wanted Wilkins to get surgery, another surgery, after his first one following the Jones fracture, and he did not do so. They then released him, and the Raiders said, quote, "We have decided that it is in the best interest of the organization to move on from Christian Wilkins, and he has been informed of his release from the team. His franchise has a commitment to excellence on and off the field. With no clear path or plan for future return to play from Christian, this transaction is necessary for the entire organization to move forward and prepare for the new season." The Raiders wanted him to have another surgery. He did not want to do so. And as Adam Schefter reported earlier today, there is still rehab going on from that surgery. You go back to right after he was released, though. Adam Schefter reporting, from speaking to people inside the Raiders locker room, they say that Christian Wilkins playfully went to kiss a teammate on the top of his head. They say that player took offense to it, and that's why, that's what everybody has been dancing around. And look, that's nothing to play around about. That is something that you probably don't want going on in your locker room. You pair that with that one, he didn't do what the Raiders wanted to do after they gave him almost $60 million guaranteed, had a major injury, had a surgery, needed a follow-up surgery, and they did not want to make that happen. And now, just like Schefter told you today, he is still rehabbing from that. I'll just say this. The Giants need to know what the facts of the situation are with Wilkins. They need to know what is going on with his foot. They need to know where he is with his foot, and they need to know what went down in the locker room. Like, I'm all for speculating at times, but something like this, in my opinion, you just have to figure out what the facts are. And there are people like Jordan Hernan who went on the Giants Nation show with Bobby Skinner, and he said the situation that led to Christian Wilkins' release is, quote, a tough one to overcome. And the reason he is still unsigned, per Jordan Hernan, even with Wilkins being close friends with Dexter Lawrence, Hernan sees the Wilkins situation as tough to bring in to a locker room. So he's coming off a major foot injury, still not healthy, did not play in 2025, and he has something that happened in a locker room that is, quote, a tough one to overcome. And Schefter said it was him playfully kissing a teammate, or attempting to playfully kiss a teammate on the top of the head. Let's move on to why it could make some sense to the New York Giants from strictly a football perspective. First and foremost, Wilkins is a good football player, or he was when he last played. And the New York Giants have not been a good run defense as of late. And right now, they still don't have someone that I feel very confident in next to Dexter Lawrence. Look, we're all hoping for Darius Alexander in year 2 after being a top 65 pick to take a step and emerge into that role. But are we sure that he's going to do that? And even if he does, you still don't have much depth behind him. And look, like the Giants' run defense has been a joke for a long, long time. Since Joe Schoen was hired and since the 2022 season, you've given up more rushing yards than any other team in the NFL. And you give them more yards per carry than any team in the NFL. And Christian Wilkins, as a football player, is one of the best run-stopping defensive tackles in the National Football League. In those 5 games he played for the Raiders in 2024, he had the 3rd best run defense grade by PFF. In 2023, it was 14th. 2022, it was 2nd. And in 2021, it was 3rd. He had 10 tackles for loss in 2023. He had 16 tackles for loss in 2022. He had 10 tackles for loss in 2021. This is a player that would give you, if he is someone that can get back to this level after some major injuries, he would greatly improve the New York Giants defensive line. That season in 2023 was awesome. He got after the quarterback. He was someone that made plays at or near the line of scrimmage or in the backfield in the run game. 33 stops. It stopped being considered a tackle that resulted in a negative play for the offense. He had 32 quarterback hurries, 16th most in the NFL, 16 quarterback hits, 3rd most of any defensive tackle in the NFL, and 58 pressures. So he gets after the quarterback, and it gives you a big boost in the run game. Where's the foot at, though? What happened in the locker room? The Giants would have to do a lot of digging, and I guess that they are one of the 26 teams that has contacted Wilkins and his representation. I'll put the ball in your court. If you were Joe Schoen, Don Aponte, and John Harbaugh, do you think the Giants should sign Wilkins? Let me know in the comment section. I think the first thing that you would want to do is probably go talk to Dexter Lawrence, who has been reported as someone that is very close to Wilkins, and some have gone as far as to say that they are best friends. See what Dexter Lawrence says, figure out what he knows, figure out what he thinks, and then I almost think you just ask, like, the locker room, and you ask the captains of the team. If the locker room is not cool with bringing in Christian Wilkins, you probably cannot do it. I'll also say that, like, one thing I've done this offseason is think through the lens of, would the John Harbaugh Ravens have signed a player like this? And Christian Wilkins is like to a T, a John Harbaugh and Ravens signing. Like, I always felt growing up and in the John Harbaugh era, like when they signed players, oh, that makes sense. He's a Raven. Like Steve Smith, Anquan Bolden, Earl Thomas when they brought him in. They always are swinging for the fences on these veterans that other teams have passed on. And if Christian Wilkins, who was once a great player, can get back to being what he was prior to the foot injury, and you figure out the facts of the locker room stuff, and maybe it's not as bad as being portrayed, I'd be interested in walking down that aisle. But there's a lot of question marks there, and you just got to get down to the facts. That's what's most important. So coming up next, we're talking about defensive tackles on today's show. We'll look at the best ones in free agency. Giants could still sign somebody, even if it's not Wilkins. And then we'll take a quick look at the NFL draft. First, though, make sure you're hooked up with our Giants Now by Chat Sports gear. Go to chatsports.com/Giants Now and get your shirts today. We've got all type of designs, all different colors, and it's all because of y'all. Y'all have showed so much love to this channel that we continue to add different types of merch. We got hoodies, we've got shirts, and a whole bunch more. So go to this link, chatsports.com/Giants Now. That's chatsports.com/Giants Now. Get your merch today, and if you do, send a picture of it to me on Instagram, and I'll put it on the show. I think the top 4 defensive tackles left in free agency include Daquan Jones, DJ Reader, Calais Campbell, and Shelby Harris. If I could choose any of these players, it would be Campbell first, Reader second, and then it's a tie really between Shelby Harris and Daquan Jones. They are all veteran players at this point, but I do think they could make a positive impact on this football team. The Giants have to improve the run defense. If you can't stop the run, you're not going to be going very far in the NFL and the modern day. Let's go to the NFL draft. Probably the best defensive tackle in this class, considered by many, is Peter Woods. This was someone that was talked about as a top 5 pick prior to the 2025 season. The production, it dipped a little bit, but I think there's a chance that this player could fall to number 37 when the Giants are on the clock. 6'3", 310 pounds. He can help you in the run game and get after the quarterback. Caleb Banks, probably the biggest freak of nature in this class. 6'6", 334 pounds, but it's been injury after injury after injury. He has the 35-inch arms. He is exactly what scouts want when they're talking about a defensive tackle, but he's got to be on the football field, and I'd like to see him be a little bit more productive as well when he is on the field. Caden McDonald out of Ohio State is another defensive tackle that is graded out at the top of this class. 6'3", 330 pounds. Dane Brugler writes, with his power, McDonald is at his best as a run stuffer. That's exactly the type of defensive tackle that the New York Giants need. You can go into the SEC and look at Christian Miller out of Georgia. He is someone that I felt like is going to be better in the NFL than college. There was a large rotation at Georgia. There always is. 6'4", 305 pounds. I think he's probably better when it comes to getting after the quarterback, but I think he can also make a big-time addition to this run defense. Lee Hunter, maybe the best run defender in this class on the defensive line. A big body at 6'3", 320 pounds. He's got 35-inch arms as well. Active run defender who can work up and down the line of scrimmage. Him next to Dexter Lawrence. That'd be some really nice interior work. Darrell Jackson out of Florida State as well. 6'5", 330 pounds. A massive dude. Brugler writes he's 330 pounds, evenly distributed, and has arms that dangle past his knees. He flashes dominance in the run game with length to keep blockers out of his frame. Dominic Orange out of Iowa State is someone else that's probably would be there at pick 105. Maybe you have to trade up a little bit, but 6'4", 325 pounds. The Giants just need somebody else on this defensive line to be able to contribute in the run game. He is a player like that. Chris McClellan is someone that I think can actually give you more in the pass rush department from the interior defensive line while also being good in the run game. 6'3", 315 pounds. He had 14-inch arms, 11-inch hands. He is a freak, and he looks like an NFL player. And then Rayshawn Benny out of Michigan, 6'4", 305 pounds. He looked really good at the Senior Bowl, and he was someone that played behind Mason Graham as well as Kenneth Grant, learning from them. Brugler writes his fierce hands and lower body quickness help him deconstruct blocks and impact the play. At the NFL Combine, I asked John Harbaugh, what is it going to take for the Giants to be able to stop the run? He always talks about the New York Football Giants. I was like, well, those New York Football Giants stop the run. And he said, well, stopping the run is a must thing. When are the Giants going to start making moves to build up that run defense? Because the only thing you've done to do so is add a 5'8" Ardarius Washington, who is on the veteran minimum contract. You swapped out Cordell Flott, a corner, with Greg Newsome, and then you cut Bobby Okereke and brought Tremaine Edmonds in. I like those moves, but you've added nobody in the trenches, and you haven't had any additions without subtractions at the linebacker spot. I know there's still a long way to go in the offseason, and I know you might have to wait until the NFL draft, but there has to be an infusion of talent on the defensive line, especially defensive tackle. Make sure you are following me on social media. Appreciate everybody for stopping by. You can follow me on Twitter and IG at @MarshallGreen_.